From Buffalo to the big leagues, this is MaDi Tells All. Welcome. Hello, friends, to MaDi Tells All. I'm here to tell you about my very first crash out. This is a very open and honest, thoughts. I think the whole point of having a podcast is to be able to vent. And it's crazy because you're talking to yourself right now, but now I'm talking to the people. And I just want to come on here and let you know, entrepreneurs, you are not alone. This has been an insane journey the last 2 weeks. And last week, I just hit this crash out and I'm still recovering from it. I've never had that where I've cried 5 days in a row, which is just beyond me because everyone sees me as this strong, independent person. They don't know how emotional I am. But I think through this podcast journey, you guys will see that baby girl is very emotional and she cries at any time, a Hallmark commercial. Anytime I hear an insane story, even watching Hard Knocks, I want to cry half the time when they're just really showcasing some of these Buffalo Bills players, how proud they are when they're calling their parents to FaceTime them to tell them they made the team. That kind of stuff just hits hard. And you're just it's just in movies and everything. It gets me hard, but it gets me hard. I didn't mean that. It softens me up. But I feel like the whole thing is new city, new podcast, new chapter. And that is something that is still just not hitting me at all. I have been putting in a request to change my Instagram name now for a month. And without any warning, I woke up last week and it was changed. And I know that I've requested this for a month now, but I thought maybe it was going to be a situation where I could tease the people or say, hey, this day is going to be out there. And from that Instagram change, I had a lot of mean messages. People that have been following me for a long time. Some people who said they've been a lifetime follower of mine, and they were in my hidden requests, and then I open it up, and it doesn't say that they've engaged or commented with any of my stuff. So I don't know how much of a fan you are if you haven't even sent me a message or liked any of my stories or anything like that. So I'm sometimes you just can't take that kind of stuff so seriously. But it's so hard at the end of the day when these people are just saying these messages to you and they're like, oh, I've been a lifetime fan and why'd you change your Instagram name? It's funny though because so many people have been telling me for years and years to change my Instagram handle and I've been like, no. At the end of the day, I still have Buffalo Food Slut and it is on its own Instagram page. It's just not the one with all the followers. And it gives me so much anxiety. I've had this pain in my chest for months now because of all this new move and loneliness of just being in New York and not really knowing anyone and trying to build your friend group up. But I've always been so independent and feel like I'm never even when I'm on a team, I feel like I never fit in. And I feel like I like to be the leader and leaders are always alone. I've been called a team leader so many different times in music festivals and camping and going to places with my friends. And I was captain on my varsity tennis team. And again, it's entrepreneurship. You're alone. You have to make all the decisions for everyone. And now that I speak out loud about that, I'm like, wow, that's where it all comes down to. Being a captain is lonely. And it's hard because I totally am watching my engagement be all over the place. I know that when I post videos of myself talking about my struggles and entrepreneurship and events that I'm being a part of, the engagement goes up. If I post something that isn't about that and just maybe some lifestyle stuff in New York, you guys aren't as interested. So I'm trying to figure that out because I wanted Buffalo Food Slut page to be strictly Buffalo content because I am a traveler. And when I'm traveling, I like to post food pictures, but why am I going to post that on a page that has nothing to do with Buffalo? So my whole thing with this change is that Buffalo Food Slut Instagram, I've hired some help, is really going to be remixing a bunch of my old content, reposting it, and still having Buffalo Food Slut. I'm still the face of it. I'm just going to have some help with it. And then Madeline Hall is going to be the entrepreneur, business, hustle, everything. And things like the clothing line when it comes back with this podcast and, the behind scenes of tailgating, hospitality, execution, some of the interviews I have, like just lifestyle is Madeline Hall. I think it's super important for you guys to get to know who I am instead of just always Buffalo food slut, because I am more than Buffalo. But I absolutely love Buffalo. But I think it's important to sometimes step out of your comfort zone, and that is the hardest part. When you step out of your comfort zone, you have all these people around you, friends, family, people that you think are your friends, that are going to be so supportive of this move, and instead they want to encapsulate you in. I will say my family's been very, very blessing about it, but when I had this crash out the other day, my sister's like, just move home. And I was like, if it was that easy, like, no, it's A, not that easy to move home, and B, like, I came here to take a chance on myself. I came here to prove to myself that if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And I grew up going to New York City with my family. I grew up going down Times Square, and I never thought in a million years I'd be recording in a podcast studio in Times Square. But man, oh man, I just like, I've been looking up if I've been dying lately because of this pain in my chest that I've just been having. And it's just so hard. You're just faced by yourself. And I look at this skyline. Of New York, and I see billions of dollars. And I'm like, where are you? Where are you, billions of dollars, and how can I get to you? But that's the problem. It's like there's too many options around here. There's literally so many options. It's insane. Even trying to pick out a restaurant is overwhelming. Trying to pick out a place to go, I don't know, even there, how many parks are here. Everything I feel like is a challenge when, and two, I would say the hardest part is you make a friend, and that friend most likely lives an hour away from you if you don't live smack dab in the middle of Soho or East Village or anything like that. And it makes me think I need to move way closer to the city. I have an insane dream apartment that is like out of a movie. Everyone's like, oh my God. And I'm so blessed. And I live there with my best friend. But I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I kind of need to be in the city and see what's happening, because the networking is like no other business. And every day I'm meeting someone from Google, from YouTube, from Meta, huge hotel resorts. Like, it's insane. You don't get that back home. And one of my favorite parts, walking around the park and hearing like 7 different languages. I think that is something that is just like sits with me. And I'm like, oh, take me there. But yeah, this whole rebranding is causing me just like so much anxiety, because I'm like, guys, can you just like also like me for Madeline Hall? But I get that everyone's so fixated on the Buffalo content, and I was awarded, best Instagrammer for that. And that is still going. I mean, I'm going to be in Buffalo like probably like 10 days this month, and I'm going to get a whole bunch of content and go out to eat and do my thing. And I'll be going hard on that. But then when I come back to New York City, it's just the professionalism. I was at the U.S. Open, which U.S. Open was absolutely incredible. I get a phone call from my buddy Levi. He was like, hey, I'm able to get some passes to the U.S. Open. It was a Monday at 12 o'clock. Are you able to go? I was like, yes. And we were there with huge influencers and huge PR companies. And it was so funny. I found myself not as much talking to the influencers. I found myself talking to the PR companies, because they were an absolute blast. It was with a hotel, IHG Resorts and Hotels, huge company. And I found out so many people and famous actors were in that suite all week with them, which was so cool. And not that I didn't bond with some of the influencers. There was a huge makeup artist there. Then there was a guy who made his own T-shirt for the U.S. Open inspiration after the tennis players that like run on the field and like grab the ball or on the court and like spit it out. But he designed a jacket after them. And then there was some other girl in the suite that had like 22 million followers. Like, girl, what are you doing? And can I get some? I just want to sit down with all those people all the day. Like, everyone's like, someone asked me the other day, they said, oh, when did you go viral? I don't think I've ever gone viral. I think later on down the road, I had some videos pop off, whether it be a pizza video or I don't even know. But no, it's just like, I just have gained influencers, a steady amount of influencers, like 10,000 or so every single year. Would I love to have 5 million more? Yes, of course. It's just trying to figure out that niche and what people want. Because for the longest time, you guys wanted Buffalo and all that kind of stuff. But to be frank, I wasn't being taken serious enough in Buffalo. I was getting offered $25 gift cards. And I'm just like, respectfully, I have a platform of 100,000 followers. How can you evaluate me at $25? The sad thing is that $25 gift card is not even evaluated at $25. The cost of the restaurant, at the end of the day, that might cost them $11. So that's what I was being evaluated at. Where here in New York City, there is so many apps for influencers to be a part of. There's Storytime app. There's Neon Coat. There's even dating apps for influencers now, and that's pretty cool. It's like you match with a guy, they have a reservation set up at some like fancy restaurant, and it's like already like as soon as you match, the reservation set. I haven't matched with anyone or gone on it hardly, but that's also another platform. Where was I going with this? I started talking about dating and got lost. It's like everyone keeps telling me I need to go on all these dating apps. I'm like, when will I just meet someone in person? But it's so funny because I just shy away all the time from hot men. But that's another story. So we were talking about the apps and influencer marketing. So here, influencers are taken so much serious. I mean, I just got contacted by this PR company that works with a huge name who's married to another huge name that all resorts back to Buffalo. And their PR company reached out to me and right away was like, what are your rates? How much is it for you to come to this event? We're going to send you some product. If you want to do some sampling at home, do some videos. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. I'm just so used to everyone saying, oh, it's a good opportunity. It's a good opportunity. How many times can you take opportunities? I did free marketing for 3 years. I went into restaurants, did full-blown photo shoots, content creation, you name it, social media calendars, and to watch half of the businesses not even use any of the content because they're too busy or they can't do this. And I'm like, I was also too busy. And I came in and not only ate at your restaurant, but I brought in a ring light and I brought in a photographer or I did photos on myself and I built you this whole entire digital resume to use. And now you're telling me you're too busy. And it's like, but then, you're telling me how slow you are on Mondays and Tuesdays. Get on your damn phone and start posting some content or have one of your employees who you feel comfortable or a GM that has access to that and start posting some content. I'll say all day, I'm so proud of 40 Thieves. It was the best decision for them to give their, the passwords to these young bartenders who are bartending behind the bar, making content. They've gotten me hooked. I saw a picture the one time of a beer and chili, and I was like, damn, that sounds good right now. I'm going to go. They went from hardly using it to only posting specials to now it's that viral content that you find yourself watching, and then you go on the page, and then you're like, oh, that burger does look good. It works all day. Another huge person, William Matar. Oh, my God. His content is absolutely crushes it. Buffalo Bird. She posted a story the other day and was just like, yo, William Matar, like, you just get it. Best content to watch in Western New York. I hope you win Best New Influencer because you deserve it. And his content is just so funny. And the thing is like, it's crazy because he's going so viral all the time and he has companies calling him outside of New York to want to do work together in law firm stuff. But like with being a lawyer, you can only do work in New York, which is like kind of crazy, but I guess state by state. But long story short, I just don't feel like I was getting appreciated enough. And I hit that wall where either businesses kept telling me, no, they didn't have money for it, or it's a good opportunity. And I said, I have to take a chance on myself, and I have to go to the city where dreams are made of. But it is hard. Like I said, I mean, it's crazy lonely. And that's like what my crash out, I think, came down to. It was like, I mean, I've also been in a relationship for the last 12 years, from 7 years to 5 years, and always kind of had someone with me and to be able to talk and vent and everything. And now for the first time in a long time, I'm 100% by myself. And some of the people I will call, have kids or they're married, you know, and it's like I love my parents, but sometimes you don't want to just like always tell them everything. Sometimes you want them to believe that life is always rainbows and butterflies. And so that's the hard part, you know, it's that. And then the friends I meet, they live so far away half the time. And I'm like, I got to join like a tennis club or something. Like after the US Open, it was ironic because then we got invited to an influencer event with Storytime and we played tennis and it brought me back to my era. And I was like, damn, I need to play some more tennis and that sense of community. I mean, they were all like influencers and everyone was making content, but like just to do something that has nothing to do with influence at all, just going to a tennis court and going and playing tennis. What else? Oh, rebuilding. I have to take notes because I want to make sure I hit like all the topics I'm talking about all the time. Which, another thing that was, had me brain rotting, eating away at my head. Somebody who I'm super close to was basically telling me that podcasts are a dime a dozen and I'll be lucky if it takes off. People aren't that interested in picking up a new podcast. And no one wants to see another hot New York City influencer. There's already too many of them. What? There's never enough. Also, like, really? That's just like what you're going to tell me? Like, I just picked up my life and moved to New York City. And now you're telling me that New York City doesn't need a life. Like, it's not like I'm sitting here and just like being naked and posting pictures of myself. You know, would that do great? Of course. The thoughts I've had about OnlyFans, but I cannot do that to my mom and dad. I cannot do that for myself. I will continue to work and make my own money. But goddamn. I get offers all the time for the most craziest stuff between the foot pics and used bathing suits. I can't, but I won't do that to you, mom and dad. But another hot influencer, I'm not sitting there trying to be, I feel like half the time I'm a little unmotivated to make so much content because you guys like to see so much of my face all the time. And though I don't wear a lot of makeup or anything like that, it's just like sometimes the camera is not doing justice and I need to go get a new camera or a new phone at the end of the day. Because when I film on some of these new iPhones, I'm like, oh, you're not that ugly. You're just, your iPhone sucks. Because this one has been used and abused and has gone through the ringer. But it is hard to just always like want to be prim and perfect. And for the first time, like, oh my God, I'm surrounded around international models every goddamn second. Not to mention just walking down the streets, but, you know, with Syndicate and the business that I do some work for, there's like 100 Forbes models, huge TikTok fashion influencers, like you name it. And like, whoa, I gotta say though, I crush it on style. I feel like I have been one of the best dressed to a lot of these events, and I'm sure these people have all gone to 5 million events, and maybe they're just like, bam. And I'm over here like hours planning, not really, but just trying to really stand out between my jewelry, between my bags, like, but without buying stuff. I mean, I have an amazing closet. Lainey has an amazing closet. And then at the worst case scenario, I go thrifting or I maybe Amazon something, but I will say I am so good. You will only see an Amazon package arrive to my house about every other month. I am very good about not the fast fashion and really just making clothes work out of nothing, which I think is the most fun. Like, it's so crazy just putting a belt on something or adding a little checkered earring over here can completely change the whole entire fit. But that resonated with me that whole entire week. The podcasts are dime a dozen and no one wants another hot influencer. I'm like, let me prove you wrong. Because last time someone told me that I could never be on TV shows or published in articles, I proved them wrong multiple times. So it's just trying to figure out what this rebrand is. And I don't know what I got to do to get there. I don't know if I got to go to Peru and go take some ayahuasca, but something needs to happen because I am feeling completely unmotivated, to be honest. I don't want to show my face on camera. I feel ugly lately. And the thing is like I've been working out and doing stuff, but the last few days I've just like felt horrible. I mean, I rode my bike the other day from my house in Brooklyn, which is Prospect Leopards Garden area, all the way to Central Park, which is like 10 miles. And it's not like an easy 10 miles. Like in Buffalo, you go 10 miles and it's like, psh, you freaking go along the water the whole time and there's no hills. There is some hills in New York, and there was 2 giant ass bridges, and my brake, something was going wrong with it, and it was pinching on my wheel. So it was causing resistance. I was going up this hill, and I had about 7 people do the look back. Like, is this woman okay? I am pedaling as hard as I can go, and the bike is just going nowhere. And then it wasn't until I got to Central Park that I just like took the brakes off so that only my back brakes would work. Probably unsafe, but I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm cruising around Central Park. But it was like my first time there since I was like 11 or 13, which was pretty cool. My dad took my sister and I there when he had a work trip. He's a pharmaceutical drug rep. And I remember he had like $80 per diem each day. And he would give it to Lauren and I to like go spend or like meet up for dinner. But like, imagine that, like 13, 14-year-olds in Times Square, just living life. Like, he kind of let us do what we wanted to do. But yeah, where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, I mean, the crash out just like continued because all my plans got canceled on top of having like a mental breakdown. I mean, like, I was crying, talking to every single person, crying by myself, crying. And then I get invited to go to Montauk for the weekend. I'm like, hot girl summer. I was like working out. Let's go. Get me in a bikini. Just get me on a freaking beach, man. And then I get a phone call that everyone got bed bugs at the hotel that they were staying at, which I guess I'm blessed I didn't go to because bed bugs are so contagious. But I just was like, really? That happened. I was maybe going to catch another ride or do something like that. That didn't happen. And then I was like, oh, let's go to the Sandbox, this place in Jersey that looks lit. And then everyone was like, yeah. And then everyone was like, no, I'm too hungover. Then, okay, let's go hiking the next day. Everyone canceled. And I was like, that's it. I'm riding my bike. But I did go when everyone canceled, I did go meet up with my buddy Max that's from Buffalo. He's a lawyer as well. He's come to our tailgates and stuff. But met up with him, and he's with this girl, and he's like, you're going to love this girl. She's from Buffalo. And I was like, oh, my God, and start talking to her for more than, like, 2 seconds. She's like, oh, do you know my cousin? Is it Kelsey or Taylor? One of those. And then she said her last name. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, she used to date one of my friends. And I was like, classic Buffalo, small world. Start talking to them, and then they go home, they were just like, yeah, tired, lame. And then me and this other guy go out, and we went and stumbled into this nightclub in Williamsburg, not nightclub, I don't know, rooftop bar in Williamsburg with like a glass dome to find this bomb ass DJ. I don't know what his name was. I'll try to find it, but he was an Indian DJ and he crushed it. He'd be playing Drake, and then he would put in some Indian like rap with it or just like Indian music, and everyone was losing their mind. And like, if I've crashed an Indian wedding before one time because I was at Clocks Grove in West Seneca, and there's three what is it called? 3 venues all next to each other. And me and the guy that I was dating at the time, we just were like, let's go see what's around. And then there was like an Indian wedding, and we popped in. They dance like nobody's business. A lot of them, because they don't drink, and they just like, they dance. So it was a ton of just beautiful Indian women, Indian men, and everyone was just dancing so crazy. And we stayed there until like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. This person's like kind of a stranger to me, knew we're in the friend group, but I was like, yeah, like, let's go. And then ended it with some street tacos and then went home. But moral of the story, someone told me, just like, don't wait on anyone and just do your thing. The crash out, I was this close to booking a trip to the Bahamas. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to the Bahamas. But then I got invited to Montauk, and then Montauk didn't happen. And then every day it was like, oh, we're going to do this. And everything stopped. I think if I went into the Bahamas to have a little refresh before football season, because, I pre-record these, but football season starts this weekend, and I'm like, oh, it does give me a little bit of motivation, because like then I can make my Buffalo content that everyone's like obsessing over, and I can, do my thing of eating some good chicken wings and pizza. Oh my God, I'm so excited for that, because there's never anything like that. But other things that happened this week that were good. We hosted an event. Well, Syndicate hosted an event at this place called the Pineapple Club. And we had about 40 or 50 influencers there. And I made the mood board all tropical and fun. I wore this sexy little red fit, and the food was fantastic. These pork bun situations were so goddamn good. The burgers were just like layered high. That was absolutely fantastic. And then we had ahi tuna and burrata with like a pineapple jam. And it's funny because the first restaurant that I went to in New York was with my friend John, that was on this podcast, from Ryan Serhan's group. And he took me to Pineapple Club. So it was funny to just like go there again and host an event, but they've like all these different layers to the place. It was so awesome. Food was great. We had cocktails after. I feel like also to the crash out, we just launched the podcast too. So that was a situation. You know, it is my dream to have this podcast be my main platform and have, you know, just be able to host bomb-ass events, be a part of events, brand strategy, do it all, but most importantly, interview people. I love interviewing people. I think it is what I was meant to do. I love making people feel special, people feel heard, and having this platform to be able to do that, and just also vent. It's like a personal diary of myself in my 30s in New York City. And I just got someone else signed to the podcast studio, which is going to be lit. So that is my absolute dream of doing things. And it was just, you have this imposter syndrome. You know, your podcast isn't going to be a success overnight. Kudos if it is. But you just having special guests on there is half of the battle, you know. And a lot of times as you get these bigger and bigger guests, it's not like you're paying them and they want to repost your stuff or do anything like that. You know, kudos if they do. But you can't just rely on that. You have to rely on your storytelling and your content that you're going to put together to put out there to the world. And that's the hardest part. I rewatched the video with Ryan and I'm like, oh my God, I should have put this in a reel. I should have put this in the reel. And I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, for Instagram, you should really only focus on like doing 3 teasers because you want people to go on and do the whole entire episode. But I will say, I was pumped that my Instagram shorts started taking off. When I say take off, you know, 1.5 thousand views. That's huge for me because YouTube is a platform I've never worked with. So to be able to get over 1,000 people that are watching my Instagram shorts, that's huge. And the shares for the Ryan podcast did really good on socials. It almost had 100 shares. And I love him to death. He's been sending it out to everyone. So blessed with that. I also rode my bike this week to Jacob's Reef. And that place is a place I keep going to, but I drove my car there, and then I put my bike in the car, and I went up and down the coast, and I discovered a beach town that I've never heard of before, which is called Breezy Point. And I found out they call it like this little culty neighborhood. It's all firemen. I don't know like if they're New York firemen or what like makes them a privilege to be able to get there, but there's golden gates and everything. But if you get a bike, you can bypass it. I found a bar. I had an ice cold Allagash Wit, my favorite damn summer beer. And that was super awesome to just sit there. And I talked to this older couple. And that was really funny because I was like, they're like, oh yeah, our daughters are your age. They're going to Sublime cover show tonight in Rockaway Hotel. And I was like, that's where I'm going. And they're like, no way. And I was like, I'm going to gaslight your daughter. Show me a picture of her right now. She shows me a picture of it. I'm like, done. Got it in the head. Took a screenshot of it. I was like, I'm going to find your daughter tonight. And I'm going to go up to her and be like, Samantha, do you remember me? You live in Park Slope, right? And then she'd be like, yeah. And then just like, I was going to gaslight her. And then I was going to have my other friend go up and gaslight and like just revolving gaslight until then we told her. But joke's on me. The concert was 10 times better than I ever expected. I love Sublime, but like never really been to a Sublime cover band. Oh my God. They were absolutely incredible. No business being like this good. Like they had the crowd going wild. They were in the middle of everyone. They were just playing the saxophone. They were grabbing, they made these two people do a dance off and they gave away a surfboard. It was incredible. But I didn't even think about looking around and trying to find Samantha because I was like front row and I was just in it. But those are all things I did on myself, literally alone. I mean, eventually people came along the way. I had lunch by myself in Central Park and the chaos of it all. I'm just trying to figure out how to take this lonely time and really reflect on it. But I feel like it still comes down to me going to Machu Picchu and like taking some ayahuasca or something and getting lost in the sauce. Also, the Buffalo Chicken Wing Festival just happened and my sauce was there with side biscuit. Thank you so much for doing that. My sauce is absolutely delicious. There's fresh horseradish, there's fresh garlic in there, and there's just black pepper. There's texture to it, which we love. And so that was fun to have everyone making content, doing chicken wing reviews. That was huge. And then this weekend in Buffalo, my wing sauce will be at Wing Nuts, but it should be, even if this podcast, whenever it goes out, it should still be there. This should be a thing that it's going to stay rotating on there, a collaboration with them. I'm super pumped for this whole entire journey. And what else? I mean, the U.S. Open was a scene. We did these videos of us in robes, and I put, what was the caption? They said dress cozy to the U.S. Open, and it's me and Levi in friggin' robes, and that did well on socials. Let's, wrap this up. Oh, yeah, this was, oh, wait, I didn't even tell you. I wanted to read some of the heartfelt, nice messages that people were sending me because they know that I was dealing with so much like this week and like rebranding. Because I woke up to one of my friends saying, hey, did you get rid of the Buffalo Food Slut Instagram handle? It's all good. Shit. Just a lot at once. And it's making all of your decisions by yourself and your brand. I know we talked about it before, but it's lonely and scary sometimes. And I said, that fucking loneliness just hits so hard right now. And the switching accounts. And now Madeline Hall's the influencer. It was just so much to handle at once. And she hit it on the head. You can't bounce ideas off of anyone else but yourself. You're the decision maker. And sometimes your friends are just going to be like, oh, it's good. Like I love my one advisor to death, but she's always like, yes, good. I'm like, no, tell me some hard love. I need to hear some hard love. She said, I feel that. And then you're in your head, you're making the right decision with no one to really bounce off of it because it's your business. And that's the new norm. I feel like you're really good segue leading everyone into your new era. You didn't just come up and change it. I said, I keep people's feelings in mind so much. I know I hurt people's feelings because they want me to rep their city every second. But I still am there. I'm just not there anymore. People are so corny like that. You can have a lot of love for Buffalo while expanding. It's not like you talk shit about it now or something. And not for nothing, only haters have shit to say. Anyone out there that is actually clapping for you is happy for you and that you're making moves. Those people are just small-minded losers that are most likely miserable humans who hate their lives. I know, but sometimes they hurt the most. And she was saying how she just had so much anxiety crying on her kitchen floor for no one buying tickets to her event, saying, what is she going to do? And she said, you're so well known. I'm still fighting for my life out here, trying to not have everyone know me by my brand's name and instead know me by my name because they all just call me blank blank. She said, I love that. I feel like you've been invited to a lot of cool shit lately. And I said this to be frank. I said, I hear you. I said, yes, invited to cool stuff, but that doesn't make money. It's always cool to be seen, but if you're not making money, what's the point? And that's something that you really have to sit down with and think like, yes, it's awesome and cool that I'm invited to these really cool people and I'm around insane influencers and actors and models, but is that making me money and is that going to lead me to my next journey? I don't know. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. It's so amazing to network and bond with all these people because, like, honestly, it's so, like, when we're just at some of these events, I'm like, no way, that's that girl. No, I've seen this before. The other day, like when we were at the one event, this guy does frat boy videos of being like a frat boy. And I've seen his content a million times. What do you know? He's at the bathhouse with us. What do you know? He's at this event. And I'm just like, it's so cool. But it's trying to make sure that you're both getting organic relationships out of it, and it's not just using each other's platforms, because we obviously do see that happen. And that's why these high-end networking events are created, because we really are vetting people that want to be open and want to connect and bond with people. But going back to me, yeah, it's just, I'm just trying to figure out here, guys. And I've been watching the follower count go up and down with engagement. The other day had 2.3 million views. Then it was like 1 million views. Then it was 1.8 billion views. Then it was 2.2. I don't know. Okay. And it's so crazy because I was so comfortable for so long. And that's the problem. Once you start getting comfortable, what's the quote? I don't know what the quote is, but like, I can't get comfortable. It's like you got to keep growing. Oh, actually, I think I have it right. Well, there's 2 quotes. One's from Tom Hanks. One's kind of one that I put together. Tom Hanks says, it's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't, everyone would do it. Tom Hanks. And then what I've come to the conclusion is every big dreamer crashes out, but the one who keeps building, oh my God, let me start over here. I got to write my font bigger and slow down, but we're learning every day. Every big dreamer crashes out, but the ones who keep building are the ones who win. And that is what I'm going to leave this message off with, because man, oh man, did that hit. Tom Hanks hit. My little random quotes are hitting. Lainey's making me into a poet. But then I also forgot that someone else really amazing said something so nice to me. And I'm like, do I say their name? I won't say their name. I'll keep it private here. I hear you. And it makes sense that you're feeling that way. It's a lot of caring at once. But don't forget what you've already proven to yourself. You've built, rebuilt, and pushed through challenges before. That same drive is still in you, even if its passion feels dim right now. Sometimes big changes feel overwhelming because you're stretching us into the new level. You're in a city full of opportunity, and even if it feels like no one knows you yet, that's just the start of a story, not the end. Keep taking it one step at a time, lean into your strengths, and trust that the foundation you've already built will carry you into something even greater. You've got this, and I believe in you. I can't wait to hear all about your video. Oh, that was something else. And then I probably said some stuff, and he said, the story is right now, you're in a place where things feel heavily new in this new city, new people, career frustrations. That's the being seen of the story. But the story itself is about you and how you adapt, grow, and eventually turn those struggles into a part of the bigger success. Think of it like the story how you moved to New York City where nobody knew you. And through persistence and your own talent, you built connections, created opportunities, and came out stronger. MaDi, you were one of the hardest working females I know. And we all know everything takes time. I give you a lot of credit to get and dedicate what you have done to leave Buffalo and to start a new chapter of this thing called life. This shit ain't easy. Just think about all the work you put into creating this brand here in Buffalo. It's going to be twice as hard in the city. God help who help themselves. Hang in there. And that right there is so powerful, you know, because I just talk about it. It's so lonely. It's so lonely not having anyone. And I've always been a loner, but like the most extroverted loner, and then a loner, and I feel like sometimes I have too many options and I don't know where to begin, or I'm waiting on someone to answer back instead of just like doing something on myself. And as I talked about in the beginning, like I'm a leader and I've always been a leader. So if I'm not making the plans, no one else was. And that's something that happened. You know, my ex and I, we threw all these insane dinner parties all the time. We hosted all the parties. And then when we broke up, everyone was like, you don't care about us anymore. You're not around anymore. And I'm like, no, I just like didn't have a home like that to host that anymore. And it was getting it. Everyone always relied on us. We were always hosting the parties. We were always doing the events. Not a lot of other people were doing anything. And I love entertaining and I love hosting. So it's hard when we kind of live farther outside of New York, and we threw 2 epic bangers at our house, bangers of events. And that was absolutely incredible. But I'm like, if it was up to me, I'd have parties every single weekend. So I think I have to make that decision of maybe moving a little bit closer into the city so that I can be around more people, because I thrive off people's energy. Even when I was alone in Central Park the other day, I felt so loved just because I saw so many people around me just being so happy. So it's a whole thing. Like I said, this is my journal. This is my verbal journal that I get to come on here and talk to you guys and be vulnerable and cry like a little baby sometimes. But once again, I'm going to leave you with the one quote from Tom Hanks. It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. And my kind of quote: every big dreamer crashes out, but the ones who keep building are the ones who win. And I'm going to win. Go Bills. From small town roots to the big city hustle, remember your past doesn't define you. Your passion does. If something hits home today, share it, tag me, even write in. Be a part of this community. This isn't just my mic, it's ours. Check the episode description below for all the links. Until next time, keep building your empire your way.